2020 sucked ass for a bunch of people. That was because of a pandemic that spread all over the countries and locked everyone in their homes and had people wear masks. Now, the positive side about this is that I got to stay home all day and play some games from my childhood. My childhood consisted of SpongeBob Flash games I would find on random unblocked games websites when I had unsupervised internet access. There's one game that still remains in my memory, that being a Flash game called SpongeBob Patty Panic. Since now I'm an adult living by myself with my friend, I can beat the game like I always dreamed of. For most of you who don't know what this game is about, all you need to know is that it's a Nickelodeon version of Burger Time on Atari. Instead, you have SpongeBob who's in a dream making Krabby Patties while Planktons try to stop you. It's really easy if you have skills and know how to play the game. It gets difficult as it continues. I asked my friend if he'd ever played it, and he told me that he used to play the hell out of the game when he was young as well. His only goal was to get good at the game and reach the end of it. It was addicting at the time. Since he was learning how to code games and learn about technology, he said that he might find a way to hack the game so you can easily get far in the game and maybe get to level 100, which is the hardest level. Nobody has ever beaten it except one day. A person got to the level and beat it. Now he has night terrors from it, which raises one question. What's in the final level of the game? This is a red flag waving in my face, and I should have acknowledged it myself. If this is what happened to him after beating the entire game, why would I think it was a good idea to try and beat it myself? My friend went into the room for about a couple minutes, and then came out of the room saying that I should have infinite lives and an infinite amount of mustards. I shouldn't have a problem beating the game, and he was right. Through levels 1 to 89, I beat them without a problem, except that I may have died a lot of times in certain levels, but that was just part of the game. It gets harder as it goes, and it's impossible to get far in the game without cheating. Skills become an old trend the further you go. I was on level 98, and I was thinking to myself, what is going to happen at the end of the game? Will I get a prize and beat the person's high score? Why did the person get night terrors from the game? I forgot to mention that the further you get into the game, the faster the Planktons get. Even to the point where SpongeBob can't outrun them. Luckily, my friend went into the game's coding and got rid of the speeding up problem I was facing. Just like that, I was already about to get the last ingredient of the Krabby Patty and complete the game, and it was at this point that I should have turned back. The jingle where you beat the level didn't play, but instead went to black. Text faded in saying, "You know what? We're done messing around." It faded out and faded in new text saying, "You had a chance to turn off the game and do something else, and you weren't supposed to get this far into the game." One last text appeared saying, "For that, we'll play the game my way to determine your fate." I know what it was talking about, but I don't know if it was addressing me or the in-game SpongeBob, which creeped me out a little. It popped up the game again, but this time the background was completely pitch black, instead of the dreamy night background. All my lives were gone, and so were my mustards. The Planktons weren't all there anymore. There was just one Plankton, which was the same Plankton from the show. He was desaturated with no facial features, other than the gaping black hole where his eye once appeared. Another change was when I was trying to walk SpongeBob onto the platform. He was moving very slowly, about as slow as the Planktons in the first 27 levels. Minutes felt like hours, and the Plankton didn't even move a muscle. I kept walking SpongeBob for I don't know how long before I heard the starting jingle to the game, before seeing a 60-second timer on the clock, with Krabby Patties now appearing on the screen. I knew what this was. It wanted me to complete the Krabby Patties in just 60 seconds, Otherwise, something bad was going to happen. So I tried my best to beat the level. I was about to finish the level with the last ingredient being the top bun at the bottom of the platform. But then, just before I knew it, the timer got to 0. The last ingredient to complete the game completely disappeared. I was still able to move SpongeBob around the map. I was kinda scared to know what would happen. I walked SpongeBob to the bottom right of the screen, trying to get as far away from the plankton. Suddenly, text flashed repeatedly on the top of my game saying, "Run," as the plankton then moved really fast across the screen. He was going so fast that it skipped the ladder animation as he went down them to get me. A loud jump scare rang through the house from my speakers. I felt like I was gonna go deaf. I could hear a pixelated SpongeBob screaming in agony, as the only image was the plankton from the level. That damn image. It was realistic looking, with that creepy gaping hole in the face. The jump scare was of a loud glitching noise with a faint static noise in the background of the audio. That goddamn image was gonna stay in my mind for as long as I lived. I took a screenshot right before it disappeared. I went to my friend and told him about the last level and what I encountered there, but he didn't seem to believe me. I went into the room with him to show the image I saw, but it wasn't there anymore. It was at the game over screen, but my high score read, "I'm coming." He was unsettled by this, saying that he didn't program any of it. I pulled up the image and asked him about it, but he doesn't know where the image I showed him came from. I tried pulling up the game on my computer again by refreshing the page. It just went back to normal as if nothing happened. I knew what I saw, and there's no telling me otherwise. I still get nightmares about the plankton every night, and I haven't been able to sleep since. That game did something to me, and I don't know how to get rid of it. And that was Patty Panic Level 100, written by Great Western 2008. Review time. That was pretty unique. It felt mostly believable, but there were some parts that kind of made it less of that, and I'll explain what they are in a minute. For starters, this definitely feels like something that I would find deep in the internet, like somewhere on 2chan or Dagobah, and it gets like archived somewhat. I feel like the reader would be able to deduce that in their own time. That's why I think this is somewhat believable. Like, of course, something like this could be found online. It reminds me of the time where I was doing like archival for Flashpoint a few years ago, and a friend of mine who was also archiving stuff went with me, sent me a Flash game on 2chan, and it was a VeggieTales game, but it was edited to look like something from an EXE creepypasta, and I honestly found that kind of funny. But, yeah, there's no doubt something like this could be on the internet. And I also liked the contents of the game itself. Not necessarily the end where you get a game over. I felt like the jump scare and the run part were kind of goofy. Like, that's been done before. It isn't terribly fresh. I feel like something else could be done. But the part that I really didn't like about the story was the mention that this game gave someone night terrors. Like, I get it. This is a game about SpongeBob having a dream. So, oh, maybe this could give someone a dream too. But come on, it's plankton with a hole for a face. It's not that scary. Unnerving, yes, but it's not that scary. Like, not so scary to the point where it keeps you awake at night. No. Unless you're like 5 or 6 or 7. No offense to the writer. You did a decent job on this story. With that being said, I will give this a 7 out of 10. Again, it was unique and it was believable, but those flaws kind of undermined a few things. With that being said, this is simply my personal opinion. We all have our opinions regarding these pastas. What did you think of the pasta? What would you have done to improve upon it? And as always, I will see you all in the next narration. I love you all. Bless.